Alright guys, here's time again for one of my somewhat sporadic videos. So recently I've been doing a lot of Final Fantasy XII randomizers. In particular, I've been doing a lot of the open world randomizer done by Bartz24. It's a really cool randomizer, so you can get to go anywhere, do pretty much anything right from the get-go. You don't have to worry about any boring story cutscenes, rewatching all that sort of stuff. Having said that, you do need a pretty good knowledge of the side quests in the game and what sort of things, like where to go for different things, or shop locations, stuff like that. So if you've only played through 12 like the once, way back on the PS2, I would probably go play through the Zodiac Age again so that you're a little bit more refreshed. If you've never played 12 at all, do not start with the randomizer. You will have no idea where to go. It will just be completely overwhelming. But, I mean, if you want to throw yourself into the deep end, go for it. There's a whole bunch of different things you can randomize in this. You can randomize things where key items are located, so into things like the hunt rewards, side quest rewards. You can put it into things like treasure chests. You can randomize music, randomize your party members, randomize weapon stats, a few other things, and you can customize, like, you can skip things to be randomized, so annoying things like certain side quests, which are just time-consuming and annoying and tedious. Things like the Pinewood Shops. Anyone who's played the original game and remembers arcades knows exactly what those things are and why they're annoying. And of course you can pop yourself different difficulties, so you can have it set so that you should be requiring to do like 99% of the game. I mean, so yeah, potentially have to do Yasmat to defeat it. So, how do you actually clear the game if you can go anywhere from the start? Well, not quite technically true that you can go anywhere from the start. You are limited. You start off in Rabanasta and you can only hike or take airships. So to clear the game, you need 3 different things. You need to get the system access key that allows you to use Balthier's Airship to get to all the airship locations. You need 2 out of the 3 shiny rocks, so that's things like the Dawn Shard, Goddess's Magicite, and the Manufactured Nethicite. You need 1 out of the 2 of the Pointy Swords, which is either the Sword of Kings or the Treaty Blade. Those are used in the Pharos Lighthouse to hack off the crystal. And then you can have it set so that you might need the Writ of Transit, which allows you to bypass the rocks and swords. But that's up to you. Alright, so we'll just go into a new game now, and I'll begin to show you essentially how I would start off a game. Obviously, if you're playing this, you do you. Because this is going on YouTube, music goes bye-bye. I do have it set to randomize music, and randomized music is interesting. If you happen to get a track that you don't like that plays in an area you spend a lot of time, sucks to you. Hopefully you don't get the Gold Saucer, because that's in my pool of random music. Get that in Rabanasta, because you spend a lot of time in Rabanasta. And I don't like that track much. Alright, so we start off here in this pub. Tamaj gives you that. If you want, you can go ask him for his help. Yeah, I don't think he has that much to help, but it could have changed since this one. So, we received a stamp. That's an ability. Mage Power Shishak, which is a headpiece, and a meteorite, which is an offensive item. So, as you can tell, knowing what your items are straight away helps you a heck of a lot. Alright, so off we go on our adventure. So first up, what should we do? Well, first port of call is to look into the shops here, see if there's anything good worth picking up, or, well, worth picking up for future reference. Now, the settings that I have is that all shops within the same map plane, so all shops within this map plane here, happen to have the same items. They're all randomized. But if I were to go to Lowtown, that's a different map plane. And the two shops that are here, that they all have a separate randomized inventory to what's up here. You can also set how many items you want randomized in here. So I have random stats on weapons. So 450 gil for a 65 attack power pole. It's a pretty sweet deal. But yeah, these ones here, 13 power for 5,800. It's pretty trashed here. So looking at here, we've got, aside from the pole, nothing is that worth notable. Whoops. And we'll look at our shield. So all the stats on here, these are all random. None of these have their standard abilities. I've also have it set so that weapons and armor have different bonus abilities on them. And some things have bonus abilities that would not normally have. So this one, Lamia's Tiara, does not normally have the ability to remove saps, sleep, immobilize, and disable with remedies. White Mask, safely past traps, very useful, and pretty good defenses. So, first thing is, you look through your inventories, shop inventories, you're looking for things that are like healing items, so high potions, that's pretty good. Phoenix Downs, very good if you spot them. And you also want teleport stones. That allows you to move around different locations, and the earlier you find those guys, the better. Also, you want to keep an eye out for things like Cure Rays, helpful healing magics like that, and helpful offensive spells. Things like Scathe is pretty good. Alright, so we've sussed out the store here. Let's go and get our party member. So, one of the earliest things that you want to do is grab extra party members. That makes it easier to survive. Now, one thing to note here, look out there. That there is Geezer in the wet. If Varn were to go in there by himself at level 1, he'd get absolutely wrecked. I don't want that. So, talk to this dude here, the adventurer. He's nice, he'll change the seasons for you. And now, I tap the crystal, just to get my teleport inventory. And now it's over here is the Geyser and the Dry. Much nicer to go here. So onwards into Geyser. Once we'll get the Geyser load screen, we can skip the little cutscene, they still play. Alright, so if I tap L3, up the top there in the top left corner, that tells me that I have 2 treasures in the area. Here's one, Bone Crusher. And over here is number 2. Flame Tongue. So, treasures in this one are randomized. The treasure chests themselves are set, but the contents of them has been randomized. So, each area will have its set spawn of treasure, but then they won't replenish, if that makes sense. In this particular randomizer, I don't have any key items set there, so once I have good equipment and good spells and good money, I will probably ignore treasures, unless I feel like picking them up. It will really depend on the area. Some areas are annoying to find treasures in. Alright, so pick up our first party member. We talk to this chick, Musiaya. Normally in the main game, you talk to her to start making sunstones. But we get the number 1 brig key. That's a super useful item, as that can, once we've got another item, get extra party members. And we get given Panello. Yes. Alright, so Panello is looking pretty masculine here. We've got Barsh. I have it so that party members are randomized. And so I get, aside from Varn, everyone is randomized. Alright, let's have a look-see at our licenses. So the license board's names here are a little bit confusing, potentially. So DPP Rav for Van, RDM Val for Barsh. Basically, every single license grid is split into 2 halves. And there's 12 different left-hand sides, 12 different right-hand sides. And each of the sides are plonked together in a random combination. and you work from there. I have it set so that each person is automatically assigned a random grid. I just find it nicer working out where you have. So left side will always be your magics. Potentially you will get a character who cannot use magic, but we've got one here that has good magics. So we've got some high level white magic here, Curager, Cleanser, Sooner, really nice, good one to get. Oh, and he's even got Darkra, nice. And on the left side, this one, right side I mean, this one will be your weapons. So this one here is Great Swords, so not amazing for him. And Barsh over here happens to have the one with all the spears. That one's good because it's got a nice juicy 500 HP over here. Yeah, it's kind of a little ways away to get, so won't be getting that anytime soon. And by the look of it, he's got some high level white magics as well. Bubble, super useful. If and when I get it. Protection Shell, super useful. The left side will always have access to at least some Mystic Armors. So that way everyone has access to Mystic Armors. And whether or not they have access to light or heavy armor will depend on what their right hand grid has. Also, these core central tiles here are not randomized, which means that every character has access to Cure, Vox, Persona, and it has Reflect and Disable, and a few basic HP slots here. Alright, now my dudes happens to be have equipment, stats are randomized. So Ivan's dagger at a nice juicy 95 attack power. Yeah, he's probably going to be keeping that for most of the game unless he happens to luck into a better one. His equipment is nothing to write home about, but he does have the effect for Diamond Armlet on his hat, which when the weapon stats are randomized is actually not useful, because you might get a better quote-unquote weapon, but its stats are worse than what the worst weapon would have been. Alright, and Barsh's, that Mithril Blade is pretty standard for what it should be. So his equipment is nothing amazing. Quickly set up some gambits for the guys. No point in having party ones. My preference is I actually like having highest HP. It means that they do focus on the stronger enemies, for starters. Alright, so I happen to have... Oh, I should probably check out the store here. Shopkeeper right here. Let's see what you got. You've got some average weapons there. An absolutely trash tier shield. Not that either of my guys can get it. Pretty good armor there, 94 magic resist. And none of those are very useful. If you have a character with a grid that has ammunition weapons, so bows, crossbows, and guns, try and pick up some ammo for them fairly early on if you can. These are expensive ammo, so you probably wouldn't go for that. Looking in here for anything that cures statuses, Echo Herbs, super good and super useful. And I mean, Shock Motes, hey, you can do some good damage there. And Cure, super nice. But I'm absolutely dead broke, so I cannot pick up Cure. That shouldn't be a problem though. I will just go and acquire some monies. Oh, and I had the thing. So no, I watched Van absolutely wreck things when I forget to turn on his gambits. Van starts with its gambits turned off from the beginning. So you can also set your characters, your randomizer, to have boosted XP and LP drops. So if you want to not have to worry about grinding up your levels and that, do that. There's also a few other nice little features in this randomizer as well in the settings, well, just in general. That means you don't have to go grindy as much. And I will just about show you that. So, really, really good thing when you're going to starting this off right off the bat is you go to the Estus Sand and you do, well, top up the HP first, and you do the very first hunt of the game. If you guys have played it, remember the little tomato that you hunt? You can kill it, and you can get some good XP off that. So, you might have noticed that I did not actually accept the hunt or talk to any clan boards or any petitioners. The randomizer very nicely has all the basic hunts automatically accepted, and the petitioner automatically talked to. Doesn't mean you can get to all of the hunts straight away. Some of them, obviously, you need to get to them. A couple, you do need to have defeated certain bosses before they spawn. That sort of thing. The only hunts that are not automatically accepted are the ones that the elite marks, where you have to talk to the clan hall guy back in Rabanasta, the little Moogle Mont Blanc. Alright, so you might have noticed everyone got a level up from killing that tomato. So every bot, or any boss that has a cutscene between HP phases, gives you XP on each cutscene trigger. So there's normally a cutscene that plays when you bring the tomato down to half HP. Fash there, chilling in the background. Or the tomato jumps off the cliff in that. But in this one, I guess it counts as a defeat flag, which means you get XP, which is kind of nice. Alright, let's heal. Alright, so this area has one treasure chest. It's a big area, and there are some treasures that like to play hide and seek. So on this one, because I know I'm not got any treasures in key item spots, I can't be asked trying to hunt it. But I also do know that down in this area, there's a couple of really super easy to do checks. In the most recent version of the randomizer, these little glints happen to have checks on them. So that little glint, I now have 5,500 extra gil, plus a scathe mote, that's kind of nice, and a Lohengrin, which could be good, or it could be trashed here. Not that it matters, because my guys can't equip it anyway. And over here there's a treasure chest. And I got a cotton shirt. Cotton shirt could be good. Reverse note. Or it could be trash. And a Paramana crossbow, which none of my dudes can equip, so... Oh, and one more glint. Soul powder and Arcani. Those ones are sell items. So currently the sell and buy item prices are not randomized in this. It is merely stats of weapons. You can also set it so that the elements of the weapons and the status conditions of weapons and armors are randomized. That's if you want a bit more chaos in your game. By all means, do it. It does make it interesting when you have a weapon that permanently blinds your character, or a super tanky piece of armor that's you've always got poison on, but it's got those really juicy stats. Alright, so now we traipse back to Rabanasta and we'll hand in those two, well, no, that first nice and easy mark. There is one more mark that's super duper easy, super duper quick, especially with Varn with his rather powerful dagger. Alright, and this one will be in Westgate, the aerodrome. It's for the West Sands. And this one's also a really good one because it is really nice and close. Let's go heal up. Crystal. And let's go back. So if you're starting out, this guy, don't forget to talk to him. Talking to this guy, Rimzat, initiates another side quest, which does have checks. And there's a nice, pretty easy one that you can do straight from here whilst we're all doing the Thextera hunt, which is in this area. Alright, onwards. So we've got our Wolfie. And if you're playing this on your own, you'll probably be playing this on like double speed or something like that. Makes the ATB gauges go a bit faster and your walking speed go faster. Alright, Wolf is done. The wolves in this area, I mean, you can grind on loot if you really want to, but their drops don't sell for much. The reason why you might want to grind on their loot, though, is because the bazaar goods have been randomized. Or the setting I have. So the bazaar drop from wolf pelts and windstones and that might be really good. Alright, so now I am level 13 from doing 2 pretty quick and easy hunts. And I don't even have super boosted XP on. So if you have like, I don't know, 5 times XP, oh, and another 1600 gil. So if you got 5 times XP, you level up fast. Alright, so continuing on with that Rimzat quest thing. So you take this little exit here. Ignore the wolf. Half the time I don't bother holding the run button because, like, I can't be bothered. Right, did I go to the wrong area? I went to the wrong area. My bad. Alright, backtrack. Yeah, so even though I played like a bunch of this, some of the maps are still kind of maze-like and confusing, even with the map overlay on. Rightio, back in Ravenasta, I got a little bit lost in the Wester Sands. Right, but we'll stop being distracted with that side quest, and we'll actually hand in the marks. Alright, talk to Mogul, and we'll go back to the Muthru Bazaar. That's where both of those 2 early marks can be handed in. Oh, sorry, wrong run. Not Muthru Bazaar, I want the Sand Sea. Yeah, that. Because both of those 2 early marks happen to have hand-in locations which are in the same exact room, they're both handed in the pub, they make pretty good early stop. And, like, ideally you get some good equipment or items out of it. Alright, so we want to talk to this guy. That's for the Thextra. And we get Horology. Not super useful. He wanders off. You can go talk to him in the Muthru Bazaar, and he will give a bazaar good in the bazaar goods thing. That made no sense. And Tamaj, you get Storm Spear and a Rose Corsage and some monies. So that Storm Spear might be pretty good for Barsh, because Barsh happens to be able to equip spears, and it should be an upgrade to his fairly mediocre basic weapon. Alright, so licenses, Barsh. Let's quickly get you that Storm Spear so you can deal a bit more damage. Alright. So early on with license gridding, it really depends on what sort of equipments and items you get. If you happen to get a really good weapon or a piece of armor, you might try and gun for that. Or you go for things like the HP buffs and things like the battle laws, which deal more damage, which is also very useful. Alright, so I've got some battle laws up here. I never saw... I got the cotton shirt. I didn't actually check its stats, so it might be good. But I won't worry too much about Varn because he's got really good stats already. Alright, so Cotton Shirk has got better stats than what he has. So, it's not amazing, but it's better. And we'll go for the Storm Spear because it's got a bit more damage. Having a guy with access to spears early on is really good because that will make doing Wraithwall early without another party member doable, because spears hit aerial enemies. The other thing that hits aerial enemies bows, guns, crossbows, obviously, and magic. And if you don't have access to any of those, you're kind of stuck being able to do get into Wraithwall. Wraithwall is useful because Wraithwall happens to have access to your second license grid, which remedies crappy characters. Alright, so you might notice that we're going back to Giza. That's actually a mistake. I meant to go to the Ester Sands, but that's fine. There is Ester Sand access around the side of Giza. So now that you've got two characters, your game plans can be either suss out every single shop that you can get access to. The aerodrome, super useful for that. But I'm going to actually go and quickly do one more mark, which is another early game one. And because I happen to have a really good weapon on one of my characters, it will mean doing that particular mark is super easy. It can be a slightly obnoxious one to do, because it has very high evasion when it gets low HP. But that should be fine. Fine, we'll wreck it. Oh, reflect. That's useful utility. I'm not a speedrunner, so I don't know the speedrunning strats for this game, but I am aware that if you've got 3 party members, block reflect on all of them, and then use an AoE spell on your own party members, you do a ton of damage on a single target, because that spell will reflect 3 times onto your opponent. So they've just, one opponent might have clocked 3 Firigers, which is a lot of damage. Alright, so this side entrance here leads to the Ester Sands, and happens to lead to the area where the mark is. And we're hunting the flowering cactus. So one thing of note, let's just quit Varn first. One thing of note is that some marks, when they're defeated, will drop a key item. So they'll have a key item check on them. The flowering cactoid is one of those marks, and you all should be around about here. Which is good because it gives you a key item check early on, but it's also potentially bad as that to clear the mark, to be able to hand it into the quest giver, you have to also have that key item in your inventory. So, for instance, with this one, the flowering cactoid, I might be able to defeat it super easy now, but unless I happen to get the cactus flower, which is what it normally drops, oh, where are you, you little pest? I will be out of luck. I won't be able to hand it in. Alright, here he is. Alright, cactus, come here. Get stabbed. And you run away. This thing can be dangerous if you have only 2 party members, as it can use 1,000 needles, and at low levels, that will kill you. Alright, so this guy actually happened to give me the cactus flower. Super, super useful. But I'm just looking at the time, and I don't think I'll be handing that one in today. Instead, I'm going to nip up to Nalbina, which is one of the cities here, and go in here. And I can also then use Nalbina Airship, fly the Nalbina Radamanasta route, and check out what the shop inventory is in the airships. Because don't forget, airships have a shop inventory as well. Alright, so let's see what Nalbina has in terms of shop goods. Alright, you got broadsword with crappy attack. That's a better spear. That's a worse spear for that amount of price. Oh, that's trash tier. Daggers are pretty good, except bombs, useless. Well, that's a pretty good shield. And that's good defense, but you lose all LP, which sucks. That's super good. Really good defense, and auto counter is nice. And they're all pretty meh. Phoenix Downs, oh shit. Yes. because I have zero way of reviving fallen parties at the moment, stock up on them. And a Suniga, super useful, but it's expensive. My dudes cannot well, they can, both of my dudes, or maybe only Van, can learn a Suniga. But, it's just so useful being able to cure those pesky little ailments like blind. Everyone can use Blinder if you get it. Everyone can use Vox and Persona. So at least the basic status ailments are cleared. Yeah, so all these shopkeepers, they'll have the same inventory as the guy at the gate, so I don't really need to check them. And last but not least today, I'll just go over the method of getting around and everywhere and finding new locations. Because finding new locations is kind of important in this one. Like, you don't want to have to be hiking around everywhere on foot to get from town to town. Like, there's better ways of getting there than that. Alright, so major cities of Bofonheim, Arcades, Nalbana, Bujabra and Nervanasta have an airport hub where you can fly to 3 of the other spots. So Nalbana can go Arcades, Bofonheim and Ravenasta. If you have the system access key, you can also do private airships, but I do not have that. So this is a really good way of getting checks in Arcades, sussing out their shop inventory. Likewise with Valfonheim. If you feel game in Valfonheim, you can go take up the Corroboree Step. But early game, bad idea. You are squishy as heck. You will die. It will be pain. It is not worth it. Trust me. Been there, done that. And Arcades, you can check out the shops in Arcades and old Arcades. No, you cannot sneak into the back route of the Soshin Cave Palace. It's blocked. So no, you do need to have the key item to get into the Soshin Cave Palace. And there's also Bujabra, but I cannot get to that from Nalbana. So we'll just fly there via Leisurecraft. 210 gil. That's kind of pricey given how close these two places are. Yep, so don't forget that airships have their own shop inventory as well. Alright, let's just mash through the text. First time you go on this one, you have a cutscene that you gotta mash through. And let's... Alright. What's that? I mean, you can work out where to go anyway by trial and error. Both of these two ladies have the same shop inventory now. That's pretty good power for a sword. No one can equip it though. Whoops. Decent defense. That's good all-round stats. That's really good early game if you don't have any heal magic, but my dude's got heal magic. Speaking of heal magic, yoink. That's probably like the 2 best healing magics I could have asked for. Nice AoE and a nice single target heal buff. No revives yet, but I'm sure I'll find them. Now, so I just came out here to double check whether or not a chest had spawned. So those of you familiar with the main game might know that that is the location that you have the 1 in stupid amount chance to spawn an invisible chest with a sighting grat in it, which is the OP broken weapon of the game. It can spawn in there. Something can spawn in there because it is a check chest. Alright, so now we talk to here to continue on with our journey. This is a side quest. However, it's considered an annoying side quest, which means that it's one that you can set to not include any checks, which I have, which means I can ignore it. Normally that would mean you do all of the different airship routes. There's like 6 different routes that you have to do. It just wastes a lot of time and has literally 1 single reward at the end of it. Alright, so now we're back at Ravenasta. And Ravenasta's probably a good spot as any to call it for the day. So if you guys found this helpful, just let me know, and if you want to see more of this, also let me know. I'd be more than happy to continue on with this playthrough. Hope you didn't mind me rambling around too much and all that. But yeah, see you guys.